All right, so this is going to be an interesting one for you, Dawn, because you are staring out into nothingness. We're going to place this recording right now onto the site. I wanted to discuss this first week, Dawn, overtoning and using the voice, because you had spoken about that a few days ago. And so I put some stuff up and I just thought it would be nice if we could go through it. You can kind of add your little tidbits to it to make the paka paka sound of your voice. How's that?
Well, the gong gives us a great sounding board to do our intonations into the gong or through the gong surface using the vowels we use in our speech, A, E, I, O, U. Diphthongs would be A, or O. And by making these sounds, we not only can create children tones, like the gong produces children tones, we produce children tones, usually a higher tone, maybe a lower tone. And so, but we're able to direct the ray of the sound wherever that we look or point our hand at. This is a great thing to be able to do. It almost defies logic how we can do that. That I can make a sound now, even now, here, nobody right now that I'm aware of alive is listening. And yet when they listen to it, the sound of the sonar ray that goes directly into the camera to the sound will come out of it and go directly in them and will massage the same areas of the brain for them that I'm doing for myself. This is called tone healing at a distance. And this is how it works. So right now, if you would just sit and receive for a while, and then begin to see which areas of the brain that I'm directing this sound ray, this sonal ray at, and allow it to vibrate you. So we'll give out just a short period of time, and then we'll stop. So I'm going to tell you to inhale deep and exhale, and just let the breath alone, and just sit and meditate on the capri, the interior of your scalp. And inhale and exhale. So this oddity at a distance is very interesting. It's like a quantum energy. And so that's why we can do it using electronics, because the electronic world is really the world of the ethers, called the blue ethers. And so when we project into the ethers, it's very interesting that at one time I had to do an exorcism. And so one of the rules of us gong players is that we exercised a lot of people unknowingly. This was a known one, and they had many, many entities within them, and they were at a distance. So I simply just over the telephone, or at this particular time as we meditated together, I just sent the sonar ray through time and space to this person to receive. So it's an interesting thing when we're working in this realm.
So question for you, just now when you did that.
Zoe just joined us.
Yeah, but she'll join us right now. We see someone logged on, but we can't see her face quite yet. So question for you, when you did the overtoning, what part of the brain were you focusing on? I'm just curious.
Well, I was doing a general thing all around, because I figured the first thing I'm going to do is scan the interior of my capri I'm going to bounce this sonal ray off of different parts of the interior of the skull and let it then angle towards whatever brain. It's in this sense of the word, it's like the brain cells are little birds and the mother bird is feeding a worm to them. And so the hungry one gets it first. So the idea is that the brain absorbs the sounds that it needs to resonate in a more gong-like fashion.
So I'm going to bring up the share screen. This is up on the site. And this is something that you had suggested in terms of warming up. So we talked about hitting the thymus gland, just tapping on it while you're making the sounds. And so by activating the thymus gland, we're helping to like basically make a suggestion to the immune system of
wake up,
rebalance, reset.
Now you could take that same technique that we were doing from the early days of kinesiology back in the 60s, I think, and we can now, or maybe 70s, I'm sorry, but we can also now, as we're tapping the thymus, we can do the ray, focus the ray on any part of the brain. So not only is the immune system being activated, but also that it's in coordination with the direction of the sonal ray as it sort of scans the interior skull and vibrating the different parts of the brain that need that reinforcement.
All right. And so some of the other ones you had mentioned were relaxing the neck muscles. That's with your, like, massaging them or stretching them, or how are you relaxing your neck muscles?
Well, you know, we always, a good suggestion, of course, would be that if you're going for somebody else, and you know, when they say you're a little uptight, well, you really, what it is the occipital region back here is kind of stuck there. And so just as in kinesiology, we would milk the glands in order to reduce the tension. So we would put our fingers back here at the occipitals.
So occipitals are where the skull meets the top of the neck.
Yeah, and we pull down here on those bones, because those bones pump the cerebral spinal fluid up and down our spine into our brain, and they're coordinated with our hips. So they're supposed to move in conjunction like that. If we do a lot of sitting, we have to do this here as well.
Something else in terms of your warm-up techniques is you talk about glossalia or angel talk or gibberish.
Yeah.
And just for people who aren't aware of that or what it is, can you just share a little bit about what it is and why to do it?
Well, we disconnect the words from our language. In other words, we sort of do angel talk, gibberish we call it, nonsensical talk. We're able to express ourselves. Nobody knows what you're expressing. So when we do this, we loosen up a little bit. So as we loosen up our bodies, we also loosen up our rigidity of what we think of as what's right. So with gibberish, do a little for them.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot?
Oh yeah, why not?
I'm the best and worst person to give the examples because I'm such a control freak that to let go is a whole other thing.
Well, I think that was really a good demonstration. Yeah, I would answer her, of course.
Answer me.
I mean, we're not doing white tantra looking into each other's eyes, but looking in here is about the same thing. So, you know what I said. All right, it's so much fun. It's like being a child again. And it releases hormones. And that's what we really want to do.
All right, so this is part of the homework that we're putting out there, the fun stuff.
Yeah, don't do this in public, though.
All right. Well, you can,
Well,
and beware the consequence. So if we're moving into the humi overtone technique, can you give us a little bit of background? I know there's a story with humi.
There is.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
Like a wet blanket, and you have to, it's a challenge and a hook 'em and a high up in the mountains.
Well, Mongolia, of course, we came under a lot of criticism because we changed the name of the country, Mongolia, to Gongolia. But really what they're known for is their overtoning, or humi. And the humi gives you an idea, because when you connect u and e together, then the overtones begin to pop out. So this is sort of, we can refer to that area of the world, and also the people, for spreading this to us and to the world, because it's a really powerful healing technique.
So here I have written that you directing the sonal ray with the fifth chakra, your voice, 5 diphthongs to create the ray, from the most open to the most closed, from the ah to the I, and merging them together. So can you give us some examples?
Well, of course, the typical one would. What I'm doing is I'm just moving my tongue and pronouncing the A-E-I-O-U's, but keeping my lips pursed, like when you kiss your grandmother, I guess you could say.
Kiss your grandmother.
Our
Okay.
father.
Here we have mixing of the A and the O, the A and the E, the I and the U. And then what does this mean? From lowest note to highest note, there are 2 ways to do it: up the ladder or down the ladder, steps or slides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, because there's the spinal fluid, which we're vibrating, and it goes into the cranial fluid, very sensitive to this sound. And you can actually do it so that you can run the sound to your foot, to any part of your body. You could, if you put your hand somewhere, you could then use this as the focus of the energy going to here, wherever you want, or to something that is giving you trouble. So it's just a matter of, it's a mind-directed vibration that we call the sonal ray. And you can even do it, as we did, at a distance.
So I suppose most gong players would be relatively familiar about using the gong to direct the sonal ray.
Well,
tuning fork specialists or practitioners are going to use the tuning forks. And here you're basically allowing us to use our voice for healing purposes as well, for self and others, on its own or in conjunction with the gong.
Yes. Well, I think that it's very important when we're playing the gong, because this etheric energy is coming from the gong, which is the etheric energy coming from the throat chakra, is that we would be trying to match the sound or disappear, because the gong has a dematerializing effect. That means we can disappear into the gong and begin to massage the tone of the gong as the gong massages us with tone. So, and you have to explore the course. You can always go to the areas farthest from the gut, the string that come down, for your most resonant areas. But then you can also change the pitch of your sound to, if you've got a good whistle, that would help too, to whistle in the gong. You want to find the openings to infinity within the gong.
I thought it might be nice as well to go over, for people unfamiliar with the voices, this idea of the power of the pranic projection and the 3 voices.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's wonderful. I used to enjoy so much when you're up close and personal to the gong, and you're going into the gong itself. I'm so sorry about that, but you do that, the gong answers you back. And so as you explore the gong, it's, instead of using mallets, you're using the power of your voice to like shout into the cave for an echo. And you'll then remember your innate intelligence, your automatic self will remember that place so that next time you play the gong, you're going to be drawn to these places of that type of entrance way and exit way of resonance.
And it's such a good practice, especially for people who, may feel like they have issues with public speaking or addressing the public. They're fine playing their gong, but they're not necessarily comfortable yet with interacting with a public or an audience, etc.
Yes, well, for you, once you, of course, we're not talking about an audience right now. We're not performing for an audience. We are doing it for ourselves in a divine union with our instrument. So this idea is very good. So when you do this into your gong like this, and you get to know your gong very well, then you become an instrument for the grace of the gong. And that type of consciousness is called the neutral gong consciousness. And in that way, the greater computer up in the sky can flow through the gong and through you into other people. And maybe also do more than just make them feel blissful and peaceful and holistic, but it may be actually stimulating some deep part of them that comes from a previous lifetime.
So some of the techniques you've recommended is yodeling. I'd have to Google how to yodel. Do you know how to yodel?
Oh my God, yodeling. Like that, but I can't do it anymore. I don't know what happened. Try it. A little, we say when we're kids, a little lady.
I can't do it. I'm going to practice for next time. That's
yeah, it's
okay.
Very healing. We'll have to do more of that, but it's a little bit, takes over.
Now, this idea of whispering, you are one of the loudest whisperers I know. I feel like you can whisper to a room of 300 people and they all hear
whispering,
you.
Of course, that's just been in theater. I'm a theater person, so that's really called a stage whisper. So you have to whisper pretty loud, make it sound like you're not. So, you know what I'm trying to say now? Inhale deep. I don't know if that carried over.
It might have.
Let's hear your whisper.
I don't know what you want from me.
Well, even if I hit the gong, can you hear that now? You see, you could hear the difference because I'm not.
Well, I mean, we can. I don't know how Zoom's doing with the audio on that, but
that's true.
So one of the adventures in experimentation that Don's requesting for your own work is to find the sweet spot of your gong. You've got one. You could put little Post-its on it, use your voice, mark it with the vowel, mark the sonal rays, or mark it with your mind. And the other thing, which is a little bit more complicated, but I feel like is a challenge worth taking. Yes. Using a recording device or phone, record your voice, play it back, listen on headphones. Now play along with your own voice, doing a spiritual free jazz while you're playing your gong, focusing the sonal rays like a flashlight, experimenting with changing the vowels, the sound rays, and different mallet sizes.
That's a good idea. And another thing maybe you might do is have a gong buddy. You know that old song, my gong buddy lies over the ocean, bring back my gong buddy. It's an old song. I'm taking license with it. But we do have our family all over the globe now, so that you can even do this at a distance, called gonging at a distance. So I would say that even though you were on the other side of the earth, that ray would instantly be felt by that person on the other end.
So another exercise you like people to do is to read a shruti or revelation or prose as your hookum. You can read it to a group and have a theatrical upgrade. You can read it to your own self. You can play it back. And then you see where you've enunciated or projected your voice in a rhythmical, musical way and with amplitude.
You know, when we were little kids, I'm going to do this by hook or by crook. We used to say, at least we were Midwesterns, we would say that. But this hook up to give yourself a very energizing request. And it's very, we call it the hook up. So to practice that is very important. And to do it, again, watch when you're playing with your eyes closed, too much, your eyes open. Remember to go in and out. This is also part of this exercise of the psyche, to go in and to go out, to go in, to go out, to go in, like that.
Well, I wanted to just share one more lecture we have up, which was shared with us with Pia in 2021. And there's some vocal toning techniques. A wonderful woman named Jenny Lee Toner gave us various, like the humming bee breath, vowel sounds and mantra seed tones for the various chakras. So we've placed these up here for you to dive further, discover and create with your voice.
Yes, this is good. All the information that a gong master of ceremonies can get, the merrier the gong master. So all of these things are like food for us. And maybe not directly, but indirectly, it's affecting our brain. And when we go to play the gong, then it allows us to be a better channel for the sending of energy that creates self-healing.
So we are going to be meeting up again on Saturday. We have two Zooms at 9:30 and at 8.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we'll just end this Zoom with one of the most relevant shrutis around for this day. And I just wonder if you could send it out.
I haven't really learned how to play this yet. We just got it.
So let's not do that. Let's just focus on the three voices as an example.
Where's my shruti box?
Aha, the shruti box.
Here it is.
You found it?
It's my old faithful from 70 years.
All right.
Yeah. So. You always come first.
Come first.
And this is nice because these shruti boxes send a ray into your chakras. Makes it easy. Well, be kind to your soul. Just be kind to your soul and show it the way of your heart, of your heart, of your heart, of your heart. So just off the cuff, taking something like that, a nice, beautiful, loving, healing sound of thought is really the shruti song. And this type of feeling truth is what we feed others with when we play the gong, of course. So you can do the same thing to the one recurring chord of music from such as this. And so this is really the healing of the future, which it makes it very easy for us, doesn't it? Especially if you don't have a lot of different musical training, that all healing will occur in this age now, coming 2025, which is going to be done with one recurring chord of music. That's going to be the way to do it, like the bowls or the gong. And that type of a recurring chord is a special chord called a living chord. And so as we play, and this is also a living chord as well that comes out of here into you. So what I suggest is simply this. If I say, be kind to your soul.
Be kind to your your soul.
Show it the way of your heart.
Show it the way of your heart.
Oh, now the problem is that we can't do it that way again.
No? Okay.
No repetitions. It always goes called free jazz style. And so what I do is you say do it 3 times and stop it if you're doing it the same way. That develops your ear. So do it again. Excuse me. Be kind to your soul, to your soul, to your soul. So I had to think a little bit about that, but then I would change it, and then I would do it again, leaving no footsteps in the sand, so that the people can only follow you up to there. Then they have to take another shift of gears to take you further. They can't keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating like that. That's not to say that, as I'm sure Piscean way of doing it isn't the most beautiful, wonderful thing that we have, but this is an alternative method that we use to cut through.
All right. So I will end with, I'll read a line, you read a line. How's that?
Oh, well, all right.
Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu.
Yes, someone smiled at me today. I started smiling too.
I walked around the corner and someone saw my grin.
Oh my God, when she smiled, I realized I'd pass it on to him or her.
And I thought about that smile and realized its worth.
A little smile, just like mine, would travel around the world.
So if you feel a smile begin,
don't leave it undetected.
Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected.
Everybody needs a good everyone needs a smile. Just pass it on to a friend.
All right. Namaste, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.